And what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Business is Pleasure. It's crazy because this episode is long overdue. Colin and I took about like a 3-week hiatus of not doing any podcasts, which was totally our fault. Life, man. Life just gets in the way sometimes. Life definitely gets in the way sometimes. But we are back. We first want to apologize for the delay, guys. My bad, still my bad. But guys, this is podcast episode number 55. So you guys could have watched all those other episodes in the meantime. So there's a lot of content there for you guys to keep up with. But again, thank you guys so much for checking us out. Of course, my name is John Francis, as usual. If this is your first time checking out Business is Pleasure, this is where we take some time, talk about our business, talk about relationships, and how those two dynamics are coming together. The way we usually start the show is, how was your week?
You go first. I always go first.
Just go.
Huh?
Just go, baby. Don't worry.
Okay. You're being difficult for no reason. So my week was good. I can't really remember what I did.
How do you know it was good then?
Because it's always good. Life is blessed.
Okay, so what was so blessed about this week?
I mean, living, breathing, existing.
Anything else? Could you be more, maybe a bit specific? Did you do anything? You had a week off from your full-time job.
I didn't really feel like it, but yeah, I had a week off. Yeah, I had a week off.
Wow.
And I just worked on my other job, so yeah. And
Come on, you're trying to make this interesting a bit.
Babe, I'm trying to think. That's why I told you to go first, because I didn't know what I was thinking of.
Come on, babe. You're good at bouncing on your feet, being light. Come on,
No, you ruined my thing. But
I make a little thing. I know it's been a while. We haven't done this in 3 weeks, so this is new to you right now. And honestly, I feel so hot and sweaty.
Yeah, I'm really hot. And
sweaty.
sweaty.
This honestly, guys, right now. Okay, the craziest thing about people from Ontario. So we're about 9 months of bad weather, and we pray for good weather. But once the good weather comes, we complain the whole time.
We can't handle it.
Yeah, we can't handle it. It's hot.
Really hot.
It feels like Jamaica, Miami, Los Angeles. It's hot. It's hot. But I'm not gonna lie, I got a little tan, so the skin tone's looking blessed, look chocolatey. So I can't complain too much, I can't complain too much,
You are already chocolatey.
a little more chocolatey, a little more extra chocolatey.
Okay.
But yeah, since college doesn't have a talk all of a sudden, for myself, my week was okay, to be honest with you. Right now, for the last 2 weeks, we've been trying to get back on the consistent train, trying to just of course just be as consistent as much as possible. Because with us, we've always talked about how can we continually be consistent as a business, as a couple, so our business, of course, can. No, I can't. It's I'm gonna be what is that good posture?
Yeah.
So just trying to be as consistent as possible as always. So with me, it's trying to get back, of course, like I said, on that consistent train, posting frequently, finding new events, showcasing our content, thrifting, of course, as always. So it's good. One thing that I really liked about my week per se was that the regular wholesaler, well, not wholesaler, would they say they're wholesalers? Well, they're wholesalers.
Where we pick.
Yeah, places where we pick or whatever. They're changing locations, so we've been forced to go all the way to Mississauga and Bradford to thrift. And sometimes I forget, it's the place I've been going is good, but these places are muy bueno. They're really good. The thing, and to be honest with you, so this is the major thing that I think a lot of people have to understand about thrifting. Some of it has to do with where you thrift, but a lot of it has to do with how frequent you thrift. The place I initially went, they only had one conveyor belt, so they would only have one stream of clothing coming through. But now these other places, they have 4 or 5. So the amount of clothing that's going through is just 5 times the amount. So that's 5 times the opportunities to actually find really dope pieces, really good quality pieces, just for you guys. And do this for you guys, all right? So that's one thing I really liked. It's allowed me to more or less get out of my comfort zone of only just being at one place, and now finding places in Scarborough, finding places in Mississauga, finding places in Brampton, So I think that's really good. And it's also nice too, because I'm seeing a lot of people that are in the industry who are always just so secretive about where they thrift. And it's oh crap, you thrift here? I would have never known. So I think that's always cool as well, because it goes to show that hey, some of these people always have amazing pieces, and it's yo, well, how do they come across them? And it's this is why they're going to locations that have 5 times the amount of stuff going through on a regular day basis. So of course they're able to find 5 times better items, potentially. So I think that's really cool. And another thing too is oh yeah. So guys, okay, I guess we'll get into that later. I want to talk about our Montreal trip and how like I had to do it by myself.
We can talk about it now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Might as well. That was your week, no?
Yeah, I guess okay. And so so of course, Carl works full time as a professor. Yeah, I got a smart bitch. What up? So she works full time. So she works full time. She works full time as a professor, and then so I guess like during the weekend she was busy. She had to, like help do what did you have to do with the students? Some food health and stuff.
Training,
Yeah, just some food safety training or whatever with the students. So I was forced to hold the ship down, drive by myself 10 hours back and forth. Actually, no, for me it's about 9 hours. You know, about 9 hours, you know, the way I drive, you know, put my foot on the pedal. So for me, 9 hours in total back and forth from Montreal to Toronto. And I think, honestly, the event went really well. For me, I think the one major thing I was worried about, well, not worried about, more so concerned, was that like, I'm used to being in the car, so I have someone to keep me company, someone just to keep me really centered and alert while I'm driving. But I didn't have that this time. So one of the major things I just tried to do, especially when you're doing like a long 4-hour road trip, was sleep. Sleep. So the night before, we're usually in bed by 11 o'clock, up at 4:20. That night I was in bed by 10 o'clock just to make sure I got an extra hour of sleep, which really helped a lot. And then the event, of course, I think went really, really well. Me and Colette have this new system that we're putting in place. We've realized like, hey, these are the items that work well for us at events. Jeans and denim. Like, I just only want to sell jeans and denim from now on. I swear to you guys. So we stacked up on a whole bunch of denim, especially small sizes, and they literally went like hotcakes. Of course, with Levi's denim, the quality is always there, while we also have an amazing price point. So I think that always helps as well. And overall, the event went really well. People in Montreal are amazing as always. They had this beautiful event called St. Baptiste Day. It's like their Canada Day, essentially. And yeah, the drive there was fine, the drive back was fine, so it was a really good event overall. So, yeah, guys, I'm sorry, I literally went on for 10 minutes about my week and everything.
I hope you don't have to do any driving event by yourself anymore, because I wanted to go with you.
Yeah.
Even though it was nice to like be at home and not have an event, and it was nice to like have some space with you from you.
Yeah, for sure. Why do you laugh when you say that? I don't feel bad.
But yeah, I missed you and I wanted to be with you, at least driving, because I do get nervous when you're like traveling so far.
But Kyle gets nervous about everything. If I'm in the shower, oh, is he gonna fall? If I eat dinner, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't choke. If I go to sleep, oh my god, is he breathing properly? It doesn't matter. Anything I do, like Kyle will find the worst thing about it, but that's why she's my babe. It's okay. That's her way of caring. Thinking the worst. It's okay.
Stop.
It's okay, babe. It's okay. I love you.
Nice.
Thank you. But yeah, like, to be honest with you, I don't mind doing events by myself. If I had someone there that could like literally unpack everything and pack everything up, I wouldn't mind doing that by myself, to be honest with you. For me, the one part I hate about doing events is literally like, I don't mind the driving now, because for me it's just like, okay, let's just get there. But I would substitute that, and also just like the packing and unpacking.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but we've been talking about how like when we do events now, let's try to be a bit more strategic in the way we curate it.
And it's great because it's summertime now, so we don't have to bring like huge heavy jackets. Like everything's just t-shirts, shorts, jeans.
Yeah, you know, a
couple jackets.
Yeah, like a couple of light jackets, a couple sweaters and stuff.
That's it.
And that's the good thing too. And it's like those items too, they're a lot smaller, so we can fit like 90 t-shirts in one bag, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the jackets, we can only fit maybe like 15.
10.
Yeah. Especially if they're really big and they get so heavy.
Yeah.
So I think that's the good part about unpacking, so it's lessons that we actually have to carry back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that aspect. But then one thing we also have to consider is that like usually when the items are bigger, that means they usually go for a higher price point, right?
Yeah.
So in the summertime right now, instead of selling like $50, $60 Carhartt jackets, we're selling $120 t-shirts, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think for us, like what we've done to try and like improve our pieces per purchase is like we'll give people deals, right? So one t-shirt, let's say we do it for $20, we'll do like, you know what, 2 for 30, you know? Just like extra $10 and everything. And it really adds up on our bottom line. So I think that's important.
It does, and I feel like people are more willing to buy like a higher quantity of like smaller priced items than like one more expensive item. Like, and most people when they're shopping, they're more likely to be like, yeah, I'll buy like 4 t-shirts for like, I don't know, $50. As opposed to like one jacket for $50.
No, yeah, 100%. And I think that just goes into the psyche of like humans and the consumer. A lot of times we like to see numbers represent quantity for us.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, like if I'm spending $50, I'm not getting one thing. I can spend $50 and get three. Why not? You know what I mean? And I'm the same way as well too, right? So like I definitely understand it. It's like you want to see, I guess, like a return on the money that you're spending.
So that's what I'm saying. I think the difference between like a summer event and like a winter event, it like balances itself out. Because like we'll sell in the winter, we'll sell lower quantity but higher prices, whereas like in the summer we sell higher quantity with lower price points.
No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And then like when you think about it, then that means like in the summertime we're generally thrifting a lot more for more pieces, because of course we're selling a lot more frequently but at lower price points and everything. So that's so dope. That's actually so true. But it really just goes to show like vintage in a way is a game, because you kind of have to like figure out like what system works best for your demographic.
And like it's crazy because we were just talking about it today, because we did a trade with someone, right? Like you found bootleg
Gucci sweaters. Honestly, guys, I wish me and Khaled would like kick our pride aside and just be like, yo, forget it. We're gonna start selling bootleg stuff, but it's just a part of our brand. I think like one of the major things we've always talked about was like we want to sell the best, highest quality items at reasonable rates. You know what I mean? And the unfortunate things about bootlegs, you're not going to get that high quality item. And for me, I think it kind of diminishes particular brands, unless you can find like a cool way to integrate that into your brand. But it's just not us.
Which a lot of people do.
Yeah, which is fine.
And like if it works for you, great. But if not, it doesn't. Like it's whatever you want to go with. But like I just find the interesting thing about like a game, it's like we all have our like chess pieces. You know what I mean? Like we work with certain types of things, other companies work with other types of things, the next company works with different types of things, and you can trade accordingly, and like you both find value in that. You know what I mean? Like for example, we traded our like bootleg whatever for like something that they obviously would have sold, but that we find more valuable than the bootleg, and vice versa for them. You know what I mean? So it's like everyone has their piece or their thing that they go with, and they just kind of focus on that, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and I think that just goes to show as well, it's like value is different from person to person, you know? One person might find value, of course, in those bootlegs. Another person might be like, yo, you guys are stupid. You guys like gave away those bootlegs. You could at least like sold them or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. 100% we could have, but again, it's about like our moral compass for our business, what we believe in. I think that's one of the major things like I want a lot of people to understand within like the vintage community. It's how do you feel about your business and what works best for you and your audience? Because a lot of the times I'll see like, of course, like young people come to the vintage industry, and they'll be like, oh, like where are all the rap tees, where are all the windbreakers, where are all the Nike single stitch crew necks? And it's like, I wish we always came across those things, but you're more likely to find generic random pieces when you go thrifting than you are those really sought after grails.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? So I think it's important for you to get, over time, of course, you will realize like, hey, like what works best for me? If I only want to find those girls, only sell those girls, you're gonna have to thrift a lot more or buy them from people at a higher price point, which means you're probably not gonna have the best return on investment or a large variety of items for your audience to pick from.
Yeah, or you're just gonna be holding on to stuff for a lot longer.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, there isn't any right way. It's what works best for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really dope too, with like this game of vintage that you want to play. You're the one that's able to dictate the rules. You're the one that's able to decide what's best for you and your brand and your audience and everything. So I think that's what's really, really good. One thing that like I think we've been trying to figure out, like how can we like minimize expenses? Like, you know what I mean? How can we like cut down on certain things? And I think one thing that we've done that's like really helped a lot was when we went to the States more, we started to realize, you know what, maybe John L should just go by himself or whatever, you know?
Yeah, for those types of events. I feel like for event-wise, we're really good at like minimizing our expenses and like keeping our costs low. Like we're not having no like 5-course meal. Like a lot of times we're eating like McDonald's and like whatever's there.
Or we'll bring food.
Like for example, like our event that's coming up tomorrow, we always like pack food and like we'll pack lunches. If we do buy anything, it's like something really small.
Yeah, it's like under like $20 for the day.
Yeah,
or whatever,
it's never like anything crazy. In terms of events in general, I think we're actually pretty good at minimizing expenses. I think like in other areas, I personally think that we don't overspend. Like I think we're very like frugal and like conscious of like the money that's going out. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're pretty good. The only thing I could say is like shipping, and we've already cut that out.
Yeah. I think another thing too is like maybe the price points which we buy at. Like I think we're gonna get to a point where like we're gonna buy so much more pieces. So hopefully we can have like a personal relationship with the wholesalers and be like, hey, like instead of doing X amount per pound, we want to do X amount now because we're buying such a larger quantity. But I think that just takes time, and over time we'll be able to like figure that stuff out.
And building the relationship. Too.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
The more I'm in business, the more I realize that like running a business is just about maintaining relationships. Like whether it be with your customer or with other businesses, regardless.
Yeah, like
it's literally maintaining relationships, keeping people happy. As long as people are happy, business is gonna work.
And I think that's why again that word's gonna come consistency, and that's what it really is. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we've talked about this before, where like our client base that we've been able to curate is not looking for perfection. They're not looking for like the holy grail of like marketing that we do, of content distribution, of the clothes that we get. They really just want consistency.
Yeah.
Like
And I find, have you noticed that there's a difference between some of the different like selling apps that we work with? Like, for example, I feel like people that purchase stuff from us through Grailed and Depop and like Etsy and eBay are more kind of in tune with vintage.
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed through Poshmark, for example, is that the people that are purchasing are more so looking for like cheaper used clothing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I'm finding that like our demographics, or not our demographics, but the demographic that is on a different selling app also varies. So we have to kind of find a way to tailor to them and cater towards them.
You know what I think that is though? Because from what I've realized anyway, like 90s vintage, early 2000s vintage or used clothing is predominantly guy-based.
Yeah.
And a younger generation, right? Where some sort, so like you have eBay, which is predominantly like vintage or sorry, guys. eBay, which is predominantly like guy-based. Grail, predominantly guy-based. You know what I mean? But then when you have something like Poshmark, it seems like they have a larger female demographic than anywhere else. And I feel like when it comes to like the female demographic of shopping, a lot of women are able to interchange between like, do I want a vintage piece or do I want something that's just like that's used at a better price point? And I feel like a lot of the shoppers at Poshmark, they're more so like frugal shoppers where they're just looking for reasonable priced items. Where people from like Grailed or eBay, they're a lot more pretentious where they're looking for real vintage from the 90s and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I could definitely see that because, to be honest, like our quality of clothing has not changed at all. We post all the same clothing on all of the apps. Whenever we have feedback come from Depop or eBay or Etsy or Grailed, well, Grailed doesn't really have feedback, but they do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but we're still 5 out of 5 on all those.
Yeah, whenever we 5 out of 5, and then Poshmark, it's like, oh.
Like 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
3 out of 5. We're like,
yeah, I'm like what?
like the one that confused me the most was the Nike crew neck.
That was it's pretty much brand new.
Yeah, it was pretty much brand new, guys. It wasn't a vintage one. It was probably maybe like less than 2 years old. You know what I mean? Like, wasn't faded. The graphics were still perfect conditions. No stains, no rips, no odor, no nothing. We shipped it out like within 2 days. The person got it extremely quickly, and I think they wrote it was 3 out of 5. And I'm like, oh, I expected more. So for us, it's like, what did you guys expect? Yeah. But I think it's important because you had brought this up. It's like, since we're dealing with a different demographic on these apps, maybe we should take more time in like measuring the pants, like what you did, right? Like those jeans, which doesn't make any sense too. Like even those jean shorts that you like put all the measurements on. The pictures were great price point.
I don't know.
And I swear they was like a 2 out of 5 or something.
Yeah, she gave us a 2 out of 5, and then she was like, oh, the description could have been better, and I was like.
The picture is like so clear. We
the
gave
picture,
the front, the side, and we had like the proper measurements that you gave.
I measured the actual shorts, wrote everything down. So it's like, what else did you want me to say? Yeah,
and I think it really just goes to show like how no 2 events are the same, no 2 clients are the same, no 2 selling apps are the same as well too, right? For I think with Poshmark, they're a bit more picky.
I think Poshmark is catered towards a different demographic. So like Poshmark is catered towards people having a surplus of clothing and getting rid of the clothing that they have in their closet. So
I think a lot of apps are like that though. Like,
not
set an idea.
Not always, because I feel like Etsy, for example, is actually set up for businesses.
Yeah,
eBay is set up for businesses. Grailed even to a certain
Yeah.
extent is set up for businesses, but it's more of like a hype. It's just a different, it's a different demographic in general.
Because when you said that, I was thinking of Grailed, because Grailed is like, oh, make extra cash off the clothes in your closet.
Yeah.
But Grailed, it's against a different market. It's still a
Grailed is a
different
completely different market. Whereas like Poshmark is marketed towards like predominantly women getting rid of excess clothing. Like a lot of the times when I'm looking on there, I'm seeing like, you know, stuff from Aritzia, like that still has a tag on it, like, oh, wore once, or like, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So I feel like that's what people are looking for when they go on. So like when they see like a vintage distressed Levi's denim that's like ripped to shreds and has like so much character on another app, people would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Whereas like on Poshmark, it's like, what? Like I'm looking for a brand new pair of shorts, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like we just have to be a little more conscious of it. Because obviously we want to give people what they want, and we want to service people in the way they want to be serviced. So like we have to kind of like tailor ourselves to that demographic when we're posting.
No, 100%. And I think that's the best way to go about it. Because in my head I was like, forget those guys, like fuck them, like if they don't like our shit, forget them. But the reality is like that's not what business is. No. Business isn't based off of what you like. It's what's best for the client.
Exactly.
You know. So I think if we sit here and be like, honestly, whatever, like we're not gonna change anything. That's their issue. We're already failing. You know what I mean? Because like we've seen this movie before, and we kind of have a good understanding of like what needs to be done, so we can like appease the client at all times.
And the crazy thing about running a business is that like it's so easy to want to take it personally.
Oh my god, of course,
like,
because it's like
so easy to be like, oh my gosh, like you don't know what you're talking about. You just didn't read the description. Like it's so easy. It's so easy. But at the end of the day, it's not personal at all. They don't know me. I don't know you. At the end of the day, they're spending their money, so they deserve to be 100% happy with whatever they get.
No, it's so true, because especially with like especially with like Instagram, like where we do like short faces a bit more and things like that. I feel like that's a bit more personal. But in terms of all the apps, people have no idea who we are. They don't know if we're like a 12-year-old kid. They don't know if we're white, black, or Asian. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it's like, it's good at the same time that we're able to like hide behind this veil, but we still gotta understand, like, we still gotta be at the forefront of the stage to represent Clarendon Code to the best ability, you know? Because it's like, even what happened, right? Like, where this girl was unhappy on Etsy at one point. She was like, okay, well, the clothing was good. She gave us like a 4 out of 5. But we're like, you know what? Let's try and mitigate this. Let's offer her 15%. She bought another item, and then bam, she's bought something else again. So I think the most important thing is like what you said, like how can we properly cater to the clients at all costs?
And maintain that relationship. Like that's the most important thing. Like I would rather have somebody come back to me time and time again than get their money once, have them not be satisfied, and never come back again. 100%. Like at the end of the day, you always want that repeat customer. And like sometimes I feel jaded because I'll think about it in every aspect. Like I'll go into a store and like if I don't feel like I got the best customer service, I'll be like, I won't be rude, I won't be no type of way, but I know in my mind that I'm not coming back.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like you have to think of that, and you have to always take that into consideration, because a repeat customer is always better than a one-time customer.
Yeah, and I think and the one thing I always try to hold on to is like 80% of your sales will come from 20% of your audience. You know what I mean? And that simply says that, hey, that 20% is so important. Don't get me wrong, I love client acquisition, so constantly getting new clients coming through the door and everything. But a lot of the times, they're going to be one-off people. You know, so like for us, it's really important to understand, like, hey, these are the 20% that are always there. How can we ensure that like they're satisfied? You know, like is it asking them questions? Is it giving them free stuff? And I think that's always a good thing. Like, you know, like there's like 3 people in my head right now. I'd want to give them a couple free items just because like they've held it down so much. You know what I mean?
For sure. Same.
So I think that's always important. You know, but yeah, I think that's about everything. Is there any last words? No, because that's the usual. Just say like a last word, babe. Say like a last word quick.
So my last word is for all of our customers, right? We appreciate you from the heart. Thank you. Because without you, we'd be nothing.
It's true. Say preach. My last words are gonna be out to those people that like watch our content and everything. Thank you. Like, you know, like without you guys, even if it's like 1 of you or 2 of you, there's some weeks where our YouTube video gets like 1 view. So that, and then sometimes it's me, I think. I can check if there's any view. But like, if anyone ever does like come across our content, like thank you. Like we always try to put out stuff that's like, of course, educational, funny, but and entertaining at the same time. But if it can be helpful, why not?
Great.
Why not? But guys, until next time, peace.